let's rip on WandaVision a little bit. Just kidding. I actually quite like this show. I'm having a good time like picking it apart. I haven't eaten an entire box of mac and cheese in one sitting in a long time. That's the kind of February I've had, and we're out of it now, so cheers. If you're not subscribed to Alex Myers, you should definitely subscribe to his channel and watch every single thing he's ever made. He makes me laugh so much. So today, after my crummy day and my crummy February, I got mac and cheese and Alex Myers. His video is titled right now, WandaVision is a weird show, but I feel like it used to be titled WandaVision was almost a good show or almost pretty good. And that's kind of how I feel about it too. I really enjoy most of the show. And I think actually like almost all the information that we were given, I think we should have been given. I just don't think we were given it in the right order. I am totally open to eating all of my words about this and eating all of this macaroni. Mostly because this whole thing like hinges on Agatha, and what her motivations are, because right now her just like wanting power, so she snuck her way into the hex somehow, knew it was there. That's not enough for me. I hope I get a little bit more. So with that in mind, let's see what Alex has to say about WandaVision and see if I agree. Also, feel free to tell me in the comment section how I could like my videos better and if this is an improvement.
So I have to start out this video like I do pretty much all my superhero related stuff. I'm not that big of a superhero fan. I mean, like, I enjoy the movies for what they are. I've watched every single one up until the last Endgame one, and like, I like them all on a surface level, but I was getting pretty tired of watching the same movie every year, sometimes twice a year.
I was not getting tired of watching the same movie every year, sometimes twice a year. I was so on board.
With like different characters, maybe. But then I saw the trailer for WandaVision and I was like, huh. Well, this is different. I mean, Vision's dead, but like not really, and then the whole show is kind of like I Love Lucy for some reason. What the heck? So
you know, I thought it was I Love Lucy too, but it's actually the Dick Van Dyke Show, which we learned in the last episode, right?
It out, and I gotta say, this show is really something. But before that, really quick, this video is brought to you by Dashlane. If you're like me, in which case, that's rough, you probably find yourself using the same password over and...
Yo, I love this guy so much. He just makes my day so much better. Thanks, Alex. I appreciate you.
This video.
Okay, back to the show.
Like I said, it starts out as an homage to the 1950s American sitcoms, complete with laugh track and nods to the domestic norms of the time.
Yep.
My wife and the flying saucers.
My husband and his indestructible head.
Aren't we a fine pair?
What do you say to silver dollar pancakes, crispy hash browns, bacon, eggs, freshly squeezed orange juice, and black coffee?
I say, oh, I don't eat food.
And by and large, the show is, at least at first, just kind of like a weird sitcom with WandaVision trying to be like a normal couple and hide their superpowers in this I Love Lucy, Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie style show from the 50s and 60s. And of course, you know, they get into all kinds of wacky shenanigans where someone almost finds out that Wanda is a witch and Vision is a guy who has to sit through 6 hours of makeup every day and comes out looking like a character from that old dinosaur show.
Oh, you're going to take him to the doctor.
I never watched that show. Oh my god, that's so creepy. That's not real. That's not real.
But
right?
jokes aside, all this stuff here, where every episode is a different
Dick Van Dyke
sitcom
Show
or whatever, like, I love this. The references to Growing Pains, Malcolm in the Middle, Modern Family, I was like...
Okay, so, one thing that I did complain about, that some people commented on in my first WandaVision video, was that I didn't love how long the sitcoms were, but I will totally eat my words here because as soon as it hit a show that I was nostalgic for, I was way more into the style. Like, when it got to Malcolm in the Middle, I was like, I am here for the nostalgia. I love it. I loved it so much. It was so fun. I even thought that the Modern Family one, like I watched that show, I thought that one was solid too. But overall, I mean, I think the Malcolm in the Middle one was maybe the best, but I'm totally aware that I could be super biased about this. But I didn't find they were all like, if they were the actual show, like if that had been an episode of Modern Family, would it have been a good episode?
Finally, someone decided to do something different. Because like I said, every superhero show and movie up to this point is basically just the same thing over and over again, and somehow everyone just keeps on eating it up. I'm just a regular dude until one day I sneezed too hard, and now I can turn people into spaghetti. And at the same time, in the same exact city I live in, there's another dude who wants to change society, and his ideas actually kind of sort of make a little bit of sense, but not enough for him to be the good guy, and so now I have to save the world, aka New York City, using my new Paschetti powers and relatively quirky personality. But here we are. Finally getting something different.
Oh,
I brought my pet rabbit for your magic act.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Agnes.
I'm gonna have to rewatch the whole show because
Senor Scratchy just loves the stage.
I feel like
he played
this,
Baby Jesus in last year's Christmas pageant.
That line was funny. I feel like this show was made to be watched again. I feel like there's so much stuff when we watch it again. I've not rewatched any of it, but when I do, I feel like I'm gonna see a lot.
Till episode 4, when the curtain's pulled back and we find out why things are the way they are, when one of Wanda's neighbors seems to know a little too much about her, and Wanda doesn't appreciate that very much.
I'm just your neighbor.
Then how did you know about Ultron?
You're a stranger.
And an outsider. And I want you to leave.
So what we're coming to find out is that Wanda stole Vision's body back, but then turns out she actually didn't because bait and switch, and took an entire town hostage by like brainwashing them or whatever to make this perfect utopia where she and Vision could be a couple and live their lives however they want forever. And for some reason, this is all being broadcast on analog TV thanks to cosmic radiation, because at this point, why not?
Yo, where's Anya? I want more Anya. Does anybody else want more Anya?
Radiation dating back to the Big Bang.
Yeah. Entwined was a broadcast frequency, so I had your goons pick me up a sweet vintage TV, and when I plugged this bad boy in, voila, sound and picture.
Dinner is served.
So, like, the whole shtick here is that Wanda was sad that Vision died and abducted an entire town, although to be fair, the town's in New Jersey, so like, who cares? She shifted reality itself just to keep hanging out with him. I don't know, that just sounds a little excessive to me for being the backbone of this entire show. It's just like, I'm sad. Just seems kind of dumb. Just want to interject here. My girlfriend wanted me to know that if I had the chance to bring her back to life by enslaving an entire town and chose not to, she would become like that ghost girl from Harry Potter and haunt
Moaning Myrtle!
For the rest of her life. So I would humbly like to retract my previous statement. Now, I mean, obviously there's some kind of something going on here, right? Like, why are these two characters stuck in the 50s or whatever? But I guess for me, it would have been more interesting of a show if they had kept the reveal off just a few episodes later. I was really digging the whole like Twin Peaks, Twilight Zone, Wayward Pines kind of thing they had going on. It's just a totally normal, cute little town, except everyone seems to be in on the secret, except Vision.
I feel like that. Did he say Truman Show? Because I feel like that's Truman Show.
They had kept the reveal off just a few episodes later. I was really digging the whole like Twin Peaks, Twilight Zone, Wayward Pines kind of thing they had going on, where like it's just a totally normal, cute little town, except everyone seems to be in on the secret, except Vision.
But they're not in on the secret. Oh, but we didn't learn that before episode 3. I get it.
Husband.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
No home.
What do you mean she has no home?
She came here because we're all...
She came here because we're all what? What are you trying to tell me?
Well, I better get going.
And then in like episode 6, we're doing Halloween, and Vision's starting to realize that, gee willikers, Pa, something strange might be going on here. And he walks to the outskirts of town.
I just learned what this emoji means.
At all. And then this happens. Now this part right here, I think, would have been a great first reveal. Like having the real world stuff be shown to us in medias res, you know, like something's been going on outside the whole time, and when Vision first discovers it, so does the audience. And then we would get episode 4 as like episode 6.
Okay, this is so interesting. I love this.
I think this would have had a lot more impact as a reveal, because for me, having the secret spoiled in episode 4 makes the rest of the TV sitcom parts like way less interesting.
Okay, but for me, it was never spoiled. It wasn't like, oh, now in episode 4 we know what's happening. And I guess that's kind of my... Did we all not know why the Hex existed? I feel like we all knew that.
We already know what's going on, so none of this matters anymore. And now it's just another superhero show with fancy computers and laser beams.
But I knew from the beginning. We all knew from the beginning. Did we all know from the beginning?
Also, in episode 8, we learned that Wanda grew up watching old, like, bootleg DVDs of Dick Van Dyke and Bewitched or whatever with her family. And you know, that's really lucky for her because, like, I mean, have you ever seen those old former Soviet state kids shows from, like, the 80s and 90s? They're all just filmed in, like, some dude's bomb shelter, and the characters were, like, the cameraman's sock and an old Barbie doll with half its face melted off, and they were just like, oh, she gets so nice of voice, they think, and I should listen it. I should listen to talking it. Just have to listen to talking voice. Also, du nicht so noch Carsten. Los, nicht noch nicht noch schnacken. Was ist der? I will say that one of the best parts of the show are the fake commercials we get with every era of TV sitcom. We start off with this one from the 50s.
So confused, and I'm not embarrassed to say it.
Is your husband tired of?
I don't know what the commercial thing is.
Oh jeez.
Try our new and improved Toastmate 2000.
And then it goes on to like the 80s and 90s.
You need Lagos brand paper towels, the most absorbent paper towel available. Husbands can use it too, you know.
But then the 2000s hit, and suddenly it's just like...
Feeling depressed.
I'm sorry, I just love when it start off like, hey, you dumb broad, you don't even know how to cook toast? Well, no wonder your husband's always staying late for work, wink, wink. Here, buy this new toaster so you can do more work around the house or whatever you ladies are good for. And in the 80s, it's like, is your husband a fat slob idiot who looks like Harry from Harry and the Hendersons? Of course he is, because only attractive people can be competent. But then the 2000s are just like...
sadness and feelings and stuff.
Now the final episode of the show has
2020
is
sadness
coming
and
out,
feelings
so my timing
and stuff
is probably
too.
not the best. But we just found out that Wanda's neighbor Agnes is
so
actually
good,
a supervillain witch lady or whatever.
You didn't think you were the only magical girl in town, did you?
So at the end of this episode, when we get this super cool theme song, it was Agatha all along. And then it wasn't. It wasn't Agatha all along. It was Wanda. Again, I'll eat my words. I'm happy to eat my words at the end of episode 9.
The name's Agatha Harkness. Lovely to finally meet you, dear.
And we get this paradigm-shifting, life-changing plot twist reveal about Wanda.
Vision, this whole little life you've made. This is chaos magic, Wanda, and that makes you the Scarlet Witch.
Everybody already knows this.
And also Wanda's other neighbor who she threw out of the town before, whose last name is Rambo, by the way, which is awesome. Anyway, she has superpowers now too, because she walked through Wanda's barrier thing, and golly gee, wouldn't you know, it's just another regular superhero show now. So that was fun while it lasted, I guess. Now, obviously, the show is very, very popular, and a lot of people really like it.
Yeah.
And it's great. And, you know, as I was saying in the video, like, I actually enjoy it. I think
Me
it's
too,
good.
Alex.
Like,
Me
it could have been
too.
great. Like, it started off really great and interesting, and I was like, okay, I'm strapped in. This is pretty awesome. And then episode 4 happened, and then it's like, all right, surprise, it's just another, like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But I actually did think it was pretty good.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Although, as
I tried to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It becomes more cliche, superhero-y, and it's just like, oh, everybody's getting ready for the big battle now, and I don't know. Like, it started off good, and now it's just kind of whatever. Like, it was almost great, and now it's just kind of good, I guess. I don't know. Also, the whole thing with Agnes I thought was really kind of like weird or disappointing in a way, because like her character up until the episode, I guess 7 or 8 or whatever, like, you know, she's very funny and very like over the top and really hamming it up for the whole like 50s and 60s, and you know, sort of that being that sitcom character, even into like the 90s and 2000s or whatever. It's like she's kind of playing this very entertaining, very kind of hilariously over the top character. And then as soon as she reveals herself to be Agatha,
interesting.
whatever her last name is, she just becomes this like high school play villain where she's so like,
yeah, I kind of felt that
and interesting,
a little bit,
and then she just becomes this like just the cheesiest.
Where did he
acting
do his
villain
little
I've ever seen.
timeline
like
thing?
all the best stuff from the show just immediately just gets flip-flopped around, and now it's just the most generic kind of stuff. I mean, not that it's like bad, but it's just like it could have been great, and then it was just kind of.
I think that'll really depend on how episode 9 goes and how the
show. Mostly, I guess there's just
off.
some things that I wish weren't the case or were done in a different way or whatever, but the commercials are good. Anyway,
the commercials are good.
4 as like,
so he thinks that episode, I don't even understand this. I'm trying to. Episode 4 should have been after episode 6. I don't know. I think that I could agree with that if we got more in the sitcoms, and if the sitcoms were actually good episodes on their own, you know? Like, if there was almost like a self-contained season story. Again, I love serialist shows. I don't really like episodic shows. But if there was something within the sitcoms, external from the Hex, I think I could get behind this idea. But I was so bored by the like randomness of what was happening in the sitcoms that I don't think I would have been able to stick it if we were going in this order. I still think it should have been 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, but I do think that like Vision going outside being the first time that we learn about outside as well could have been really, really interesting. Again, I'm totally willing to eat all my words after episode 9. It just depends on what is gonna happen, I guess. What do you guys think is gonna happen? And what do you guys think of the show so far? Would you rearrange the order of the episodes? Let me know in the comments. And also, I don't know if tomorrow's gonna be the day where there's gonna be a merch store attached to this video where you can get this shirt or this shirt, which I know is everybody's favorite. These are the characters from my books because these are my books. If you want to support me in another way, even though you already have by watching this video, be friends instead. If I put this in the thumbnail again, I'd probably get a lot more questions about why only one arm looks so jacked. I have a merch store now, or maybe I don't. I'm not sure how these things work. I think I have one on Spring Tea and Redbubble, and if you want another way to support me other than reading my books or watching my videos, you could buy a t-shirt. Thanks so much if you've made it this far into the video with me. I hope you're all happy and healthy and, you know, not eating an entire box of macaroni and cheese by yourself. Or do it. Do it if it makes you feel better. I feel better now. Be kind to each other out there. Be friends instead. You're all breathtaking, and until next time, may the Force be with you. Live long and prosper, and I'll be back.
No, I said aloud. I would not allow this. I could not. I couldn't watch all these people die. I pulled my hands out of my pockets and called magic to me. I stood with my eyes closed and fists clenched at my side as there was another jolt that rocked the train. The baby kept crying. There was a collective intake of breath, and I exhaled a single word.
Vani,
I said, as I threw the power that had been gathering in my core. My open hands sent sparks of blue magic from my fingertips through the floor of the train. There was a screech of metal on metal, a horn bellowing one low note, and time stopped.